You've heard of the Bernie Madoff situation where people were getting statements that looked like they still had money in the account. We had one management company that was providing statements for the board showing that they had balances in the checking account and money was there. And then all of a sudden the local manager and the maintenance guys, their checks didn't come in or checks bounced, and they realized they had a problem and they couldn't get a hold of the management office, and they found out that they were just providing fake Bank of America statements that they were doctoring. Meanwhile, they were taking money out of the account to the point where it had 3 cents left in it.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Policy Party. I'm Negar Sharifi, and I'm joined by my partner, Phil Masi. So, I had a call, Phil, last week, local property management company. It's a small one, and they asked me to audit their policies for their property management company. And they asked a question that I get a lot. I noticed that they didn't carry a crime policy. So I explained to them how it was necessary for them to carry a crime policy because they insured or they managed several local communities. And I thought today it'd be a good opportunity for you and I to kind of go over briefly why it's important for property managers, management companies to carry a crime policy, and why our boards should make sure that the management companies that do manage them also carry it. So you want to dive right in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've had in our careers here, both of us, multiple community associations completely wiped out of every cent that they have through crime thefts, basically, usually by the property manager, but it could be a third party as well or a board member that gets too involved. And usually when they steal money from the associations, they don't stop at the amount of insurance you buy. They take everything or everything they can take. Over years. I mean, we've had scenarios and stories where you've heard of the Bernie Madoff situation where people were getting statements that looked like they still had money in the account. We had one management company that was providing statements for the board showing that they had balances in the checking account and money was there. And then all of a sudden the local manager and the maintenance guys, their checks didn't come in or checks bounced, and they realized they had a problem and they couldn't get a hold of the management office, and they found out that they were just providing fake Bank of America statements that they were doctoring. Meanwhile, they were taking money out of the account to the point where it had 3 cents left in it.
All right. So that not good, and this is not uncommon, but let's kind of briefly go over the 2 types of crime insurance. So if you're a board or you're an owner of a management company, you want the management company to have its own crime policy.
Correct.
What endorsement or what type of crime insurance should be shown on that policy?
Sure. So if you're a management company out there and you're watching this, you should have crime insurance to protect the management company against your employees stealing from you. But then you also want to add an endorsement to the crime policy for third-party crime theft. Why you want third party is that you want protection in the event one of your employees steals from one of your clients, right? So the client's the one taking the loss, the community association, but your crime policy will actually protect the management company against that third-party theft. So you want first party in the event they steal from you, and you want third party in the event they steal from one of your customers. So when you're a management company, that's how you'd like to set that up. For an association, whether you're a 718 condo or a 720 HOA, you are actually required by those statutes to buy crime coverage. So it's not optional. And that crime limit that you buy should be basically enough to cover the cash on hand and operating and reserve accounts. That's usually the rule of thumb. So it's something that does need to be reviewed annually. And I can tell you probably the number one issue we see with other agents is we take over or review insurance policies for our clients, and we'll look at the crime policy and, they have $1.3 million in the bank and the crime policy's got a $25,000 crime limit. It's nowhere near the limit that they need. And again, because the agents will write something when it's developer controlled, no one ever looks at the policy again. Meanwhile, the association has a lot more assets than they did, and they're way underinsured, or they don't have the right crime coverages across all the different ways crime theft can occur. So crime policies are always littered usually with agent mistakes, and most of the time people don't realize it's a problem until a loss occurs.
So we have several examples of these, and one thing that Phil and I have noticed is that the local communities where we get resistance and they don't allow us in to become the agent, sometimes those are the properties where something shady is going on. Not all the time, but one just came up last week, right?
Well, yeah, so we won't say the names of all
No.
this, but this literally just popped last week where we got the call, and it was an account that we are not the agent for.
We used to be.
Yeah. Then
Got fired.
But the manager was always odd to us why it went the way it did, and then we heard that over time this person had been stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the association, and so they were using an insurance agent out of the area, and that's always that we never even heard of before, and I think it's not just the insurance agents, but your CPAs, anybody that's really good at what they do. When the manager knows that they're good, especially if they're local and knows they're good, they'll usually try to stay away from the better vendors, because if they're stealing money, someone's going to find out, and probably the better people would see that and point that out.
And that's true. So, although the crime policy tends to be one of the least expensive premiums in your overall insurance program, it is incredibly important that you not only review your own crime insurance policy and limits, but also that of your management company. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Policy Party.